Hello and welcome to this video tutorial for Creo Parametric version 3. The content of this video tutorial are surface features and surface operations. So in the workspace I have two features built via an extrusion of the same profile. The first is a solid feature, so most likely every operation you've done previously has been a solid feature operation. And on the right, we have a surface feature of that same profile. So surface features are useful for making thin products or features that might be made from a shell or a membrane structure. And there's a number of different operations that can be done to a surface feature that cannot be done to a solid feature. So if I clicked this surface feature, for example, and if I go to the model panel, there's a wide array of tools that becomes active that wasn't previously active. So you may have used pattern or mirror before, but surface operations, we can trim surfaces, we can offset, we can intersect or merge them, we can then thicken or solidify. Okay, we'll start by deleting these features. And we'll have a look at how we first create a surface feature. So as per normal, we'll hit extrude, we'll click our front datum plane, we can make center lines, then we can make a rectangle. I'm not too worried about these overall dimensions. We can then set the distance for extrusion. Now, I'll just turn these datum planes off. So currently we're extruding this as a solid feature, but if we click extrude as a surface, that solid profile now changes to a surface profile. So we can just toggle that on and off. And using these toggles, we can change revolves, blends, or extrudes to surface features. We can then click OK. And in this manner, we can create surface features. Okay, so I've now modified our original cross-section, and I'm going to turn datum planes back on, and I'll extrude another section that intersects with our first. So I'll just create a circular section, click OK. I'll set that as a surface feature and extrude that symmetrically. Okay, so we have two surface features, a rectangle intersecting with a circle, and we can now demonstrate some of the operations we can do with surfaces. So if we select these two in our workflow, a wide range of tools becomes active. So for example, we could merge features together. So on clicking merge, we can define our cutting plane. So we'll just choose the default for the time being. And you can see it has intersected or found the union of both the rectangle and the circle, or the cylinder and the rectangle. So we'll edit that. We can also flip these arrows, so flip our merge planes. Click OK. And we can see it has taken the extremities. So it's removed this internal feature. So it's quite useful for building complex surface geometry, where multiple surfaces may intersect with one another, and you can use the merge operation to find the union of those. Another feature we'll have a look at is the project feature. So this is useful for creating complex cuts or removing sections. So if we turn our datum planes back on, we'll create a new datum plane off the front plane, and I'm not too concerned about the distance here. Click OK. Now I'm going to sketch a reference shape which will be projected onto our cylinder. So with the sketch tool, I'll then open the palette tool and then get a really tricky looking shape. This looks pretty good. Can then fix that in location. Press OK. So what I've got here is on this new datum plane, I have a sketch and I want to project that onto our cylinder so it wraps around the cylinder. So we can select our cylinder, choose the project tool, click our reference surface, which is this cylinder, click our direction, so we want to go into the page, and then our reference is this star shape. So you can see that's now projected onto our cylinder. We can click OK, and I'll turn these datum planes off. So what we have here is we have a sketch on one plane that's been projected about a curved surface. So the final step here is to select our cylinder. We can then use the trim tool to remove parts. So we'll click trim, click our projected surface, and we want to flip the arrow. So this is the surface we're keeping. Click OK, and we have completed a cutout. So it's just another method of creating complex features by using the project tool to project a curve onto a complex surface. As a final step, we can also thicken features. So these surface features are infinitely thin. So we can select our surface feature. We can then choose a thicken tool. And this is useful if we're working with plate or sheet metal and we need to decide on a set thickness. We can apply that. And click OK. And that surface feature has been changed to a solid feature. Okay, so we've just had a whirlwind look at surface features and surface operations. At this point, I would recommend spending some more time experimenting with and playing with the surface feature palette in this menu here. But the last operation we'll have a look at today is boundary blends. So this is quite a high-level tool where you can take two or more surfaces or two or more curves or ends and effectively merge them together. This is quite a high-level operation, and I certainly wouldn't recommend using it as a first port of call. It's more useful for finishing off surface features. So to demonstrate this, we'll create a sketch on the front plane. We'll just use this trusty old spline tool to create any feature. So this could represent the boundary of a surface feature or a datum curve. Click OK. I'll then add a new datum plane, and this can represent the end of another feature. I'll create a sketch on this datum plane. Now notice how these ends of the splines don't have to line up. We can OK those. We can turn the datum planes off. And we can join these two features with the boundary blend tool. We can then select our items. So our first curve, hold down Control, select our second, and Creo has automatically blended those two together as a surface feature. You can also add multiple curves. So if you have 3 or 4 different components you want to blend it together, you can keep adding those, and you can also add items out of plane. We'll tick OK, and that completes our boundary blend. So as I said, quite a complex high-level operation. So please use this normal surface operations first before resorting to a boundary blend tool.